Welcome to our series of Louder Than War interviews with me, Nigel Carr. If you like what you see, please subscribe below. It helps us a lot. Thanks. Thank you for joining me, Neil Hannon from Divine Comedy. It's Nigel Carr from Louder Than War. We're going to discuss a bit of back history, the new album, and the tour. How you doing, Neil?
I'm good. Yeah, I've uh, I've had some fruit and some coffee. I
That's good.
know fruit is it's rare, but it whenever you eat fruit, you go, why don't I eat this more often? It's really nice, you know.
I
Just
have
seems
it for
impossible.
breakfast. Dried apricots for breakfast. I
Oh,
think
very
that's
nice. I had two fried eggs for breakfast, so it's
living it
all
up,
for nothing. Yeah,
living it up, living it up.
you can
So,
take the man out of Ulster, but
You've got the new album coming out on September the 19th, and you've got a tour to follow. Some of it will be Q&A, some will be acoustic, and obviously live band as well. But can we just reach back into the past a little bit? Because I have read a lot about you and know a lot about you, obviously, from sort of 1996 onwards. But just going back into your musical history, if you don't mind. You're a multi-instrumentalist, and I can see it here with all the keyboards and guitars and everything behind you.
well,
Magic.
multi meaning two things,
Oh, is that
basically.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's guitars, basses, banjos, they're all the same. And
Yeah,
like all of the keyboards basically are your fingers on them. So, you know,
or six
uh,
strings.
there's some drums over there, but I'm really, really bad.
Well, what did you train on when you were a kid? Were you classically trained, or was it
Um,
guitar? Or
I had piano lessons like everybody virtually
yeah,
does, and everybody I know has a higher grade than I got.
yeah.
Like I think I got to grade three or something before
Wow.
I said, but I just want to know how to do like clank, 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 clank on Don't Bring Me Down or something like that, you know?
Yeah,
So I ended up just doing my own thing. Um, yeah, I guess I'm self-taught. And it really shows when I'm trying to show other people my chords,
yeah.
because it's like, how do you get your fingers like that? Yeah.
So you trained on the piano, and then you started picking up the guitar, I guess. So
Yeah,
that's
trained on the piano-ish, and then I bought a 20 quid guitar off my brother's friend. It was an electric, and I had no amp.
yeah.
And so for the first like month, I was just going ding, 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 ding. But you know, picking out the down, 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 down.
The
You
chain.
know?
Yeah.
Yes, at that time it was just the Grand Prix music to me. Mm.
And do you have a preference between piano and because both feature quite prominently right through from the very
Yeah.
beginning?
Um, it's funny, I don't think I could write successfully without both,
Mm,
because, you know, I always sort of, whenever I come up against a wall on one, or I just feel like it's getting kind of boring on one, I swap to the other and try to play it on that, and
yeah,
something always happens because of that swapping to and fro.
yeah.
Um, you know, I only ever play guitar really live, because I can't. My brain isn't clever enough to do both piano and singing, you know, at the
Oh,
same
really?
time. I've always messed up when I've done a lot of that.
The fingers don't go in quite the right places, is that right? It's a bit
It
more
just takes an
complicated.
awful lot of practice, you know,
Yeah,
whereas guitar and singing seems to make sense, you know.
yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I read or I heard somewhere that you'd been writing music since you were 12 years old. That's an early age to
After a
start
fashion.
constructing. Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have, you know, when they've done piano lessons, they've kind of go, well, I can write something as well. And I sort of wrote little, you know, poor excuses for minuets and things like this. And then, but I remember my first proper song really, which was, it was called Nobody Wins. Nobody wins when somebody dies. Uh, you know, I was a, a child of bombastic rock. And you know, I suddenly realized that sort of makes sense. It's got verses and choruses, and it's not rocket science, but it was a song, and I felt so proud of myself for doing that. and these little kind of victories mean that you keep going.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're constructing the songs or writing the songs, I mean, I remember watching Paul McCartney on the Let It Be film, and he's banging away on the bass, and he comes up with Get Back, and
I
it's a
know.
very sort of Neanderthal way of actually writing a song because it's directly from the instrument. And some people
Yeah.
start with a hook, and some people just
Mm.
dream it up like yesterday. So how does that work for you?
It is kind of different on every song.
Mm,
Um, Often it is just like picking it. You always find you write a song or two on a new instrument. And sure enough, I bought myself a nice little guitar, little sort of parlor guitar. And just because you're enthused to play a bit, and suddenly, oh, that's kind of nice. And oh,
yeah.
got a tune. Um, so, and that's why I buy bizarre sort of instruments. I don't know if I can show you this, but I've
Oh,
got,
there you go. The church organ.
well, no, oh God, I just knocked over the microphone. If
Yeah.
you see this
Oh,
thing,
this. Yeah.
this is an Elka Wilgamat
Oh,
from the
wow.
like early 70s. It's an
Oh,
Italian kind of, what would you call it? Like early sort of drum machine slash sequencer, because you can play
wow.
chords on it and it goes.
Yeah.
And I love things like that. And as soon as I bought that, I made sure that while I was playing with it and just seeing what it could do, I recorded everything because I'm going to get some tunes out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's amazing. So,
I
have
love
you
all of
the music for a found harmonium? Have you experimented with the harmonium?
that.
I've heard the harpsichord in there.
Well, that it's a Farfisa organ actually, and it's
Right.
Kathy's, my wife's.
Yeah.
Um, and I did a little film called Lola a few years ago, like an Irish sort of weird sci-fi B movie, and it was during lockdown, and I just thought I've always enjoyed that sort of weird drum machine it had. It's like just a little internal sequencer. And so almost all of the film is soundtrack. The soundtrack is made with that keyboard,
Wow.
and just other things going on the top.
Yeah.
Um, but often I will write things. I wrote quite a lot of, songs around the late 90s, early 2000s on a little Japanese thing I picked up in Tokyo on one of our futile trips there in the 90s. There was a little sequencer, and I wrote like Jin Suk Boy on it and various sort of big songs. But the
Wow.
stuff from the sequencer never really made it onto the tracks. It was just, getting the
It's the
old
idea for the melody and for
juices
the
flowing.
hook. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people they just start with a big hook and then they start fitting all the verses in. Um,
Yeah.
seems to be the modern way of doing things. They have these huge, like "Take Me to Church," that huge hook, and then the rest of
mm,
the song is almost inconsequential, and it just
well,
always builds up to the big hook. It seems to be a
Well, I mean, I like that song, but all of the bits should be equally consequential in
yes,
my book,
yes, agree,
Um,
agree.
well, it's, a song. I don't think you should ever forget a verse.
Mm,
And it's, yeah, choruses are very important, or refrains, or whatever you want to call them, and sort of instrumentally bits. But I like verses that are memorable as well. I
yeah,
like also, I sort of investigated in the 90s all of the old, Cole Porter, Gershwin, Berlin, and also, the sort of chanson people like Brel uh, and Kurt
Chapman.
Weill and people like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
their songs back then were very differently constructed
yeah,
to pop music, and
yeah,
you tended to sort of you'd have a little sort of intro, and then the verse wouldn't be a verse, it would be the chorus instantly. And I loved just sort of the verse chorus thing is sort of obliterated, and it's just like hook after hook,
yeah.
if you know what I
I
mean.
know what you
Yeah.
mean. No, I know exactly what you mean. You have a lightness of touch to the way you write music that sometimes goes off in a completely different direction than you're expecting. If you take Achilles, the song that really sort of drew me in to the new album, which I absolutely love, there
Oh,
are
thank you.
there are elements of Ennio Morricone in there within that song, and the way the chorus takes off in the opposite direction that you're expecting it to.
It actually, yeah, it is actually a tone, a key, tone lower than the verse.
Right, but the
Uh,
vocal
and
sort of
and I remember thinking, how did that just happen? But I think it's right.
yeah,
When you do things and you think, well, that's not what usually happens, but I'm going to stick with it because it seems to be what the song desires.
yeah,
And I often submit to what the tune is telling me to do.
yeah,
Um, it's it's generally right.
yeah.
Mm.
But it produces those magic moments that flicks it into a
Yeah,
sort of different level from the mundanity of some as a bread and butter songwriter would go dum 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 dum, and it
yeah.
all resolves nicely, but it's all a bit been done, and you take it off in a different direction, which is pretty much defines
Mm.
the Divine Comedy, because
In,
that gives
in
that
many ways.
speciality to the songs that separate you from other
Well,
people.
thank you very much. Thank you. He said, shifting uncomfortably in his seat. Um, I've I enjoy three chords. I enjoy two chords, like
Yeah. Who
Velvet
said
Underground.
who said three chords were too many? I
Exactly.
yeah.
I enjoy, yeah. There's some it's like heroin is one chord basically.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
exactly.
and but I always just as I investigated further into the possibilities, I found all of these amazing chords, and I thought, why aren't these allowed in pop music?
Yeah,
And then I decided that all's fair in love and war, and you can do whatever the hell you want. And
absolutely. Yeah,
I yeah, I just get bored too easily, so I just throw it all in there and
experiment.
experiment. Yeah,
And time signatures too. A lot of the old Canterbury guys, Caravan and Hatfield and the North, they experimented with different time signatures throughout their songs, and they became very, very complicated, or almost
yeah.
jazz.
Well, yeah, I'm not really that inclined towards the sort of you know 5/17 kind of time signature or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I I like sort of interesting rhythms that aren't just sort of four on the floor. Um, but then the thing I always come back to is sort of a Johnny Cash-esque shuffle,
Yeah, yeah, yes.
It's just there's something about that that always makes me happy, and I've tried desperately to not put it on every song I've ever made. I think it's it can be traced almost back to when I heard it was on one of those sort of past Eurovision things, and Poupée de cire, Poupée de sang,
Yeah,
Franz Gall, and it was the Luxembourg entry. It was in the sort of mid 60s.
yeah,
And I later found out, of course, that Galsberg had written it, as he had written most of those things.
yeah.
Um, but the the rhythm on that was, and I thought, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
Because he's galloping
It's
along.
galloping, and
National
it's like,
Express. Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah. So the first thing I put it on was "Tonight We Fly" on Promenade, and it worked really well. So on the next album, "Something for the Weekend's" got it as well.
He's doing it again.
Yeah. And it sort of takes the emphasis away from the. So if it was normal, it would be.
Yeah.
So that the offbeat, rock and roll offbeat is gone, and suddenly it's all on the one. It's and it's so much more kind of, it's got more momentum.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've noticed there's quite a few styles on this new album. On Ma, Largo by the Sea. It's bossa nova. It's sort of sneaked
Yeah,
in there, hasn't
yeah. I
it?
don't want to turn the camera around again, but on the top of the Farfisa is a Roland CompuRhythm CR78, which
Oh,
is my new pride and joy. It's like the first truly programmable drum machine from 1978, and
wow.
you can hear it on amazing records from
Yeah,
that period.
yeah.
Um, and I bought it for a lot of money, and I thought it's bloody going on the album. And the only song that seemed that it could be on the album and have that drum machine was Mar-a-Lago,
Yeah,
because I wanted it to sound a bit like a sad little sort of cabaret act in the corner of the exotic like hotel resort hotel, you know.
yeah.
And so the song has to sound slightly nauseating, especially considering it's you know, the character who inspired it.
Right,
um
right.
and so I tried to make it pretty sick making, you know, like didn't tune the piano that morning, and uh you know, made just took Simon, our bass player's upright bass stuff where he didn't quite get it right. You know? Yeah, he was livid.
It
Anyway,
does have
it's
a sort of
art.
fresh, summery sound to it. It reminded me a bit of more Pink Floyd's album. There's sort
Yeah.
of beach scenes in there which are quite cool. And do you think that songwriters are just dropped from the sky, that they're born? You know, that because not everybody can turn a tune, right? It's a very, very
Yeah,
special skill that you
I
appear
mean,
to be born with that you don't
I know, but
learn.
I would hasten to add that I can't do anything else, you know. um I, I I can't successfully put a picture up on the wall, you know. It's like it
Brilliant.
just like it the nail just falls out. And um I I thought maybe I should be writing a novel. People kept saying, "Oh, your lyrics are so good, you should write a book."
Yeah, yeah.
I've started about three, got through about 3 pages, decided it was just awful,
Yeah.
and you know, got back to the day job because that's what I am actually good at.
But you're a
Um,
storyteller through your songs in
yeah,
the same way, maybe Noel Coward, and maybe even going back to sort of George Formby Senior and George Formby. They're all story songs. Ian
yeah,
Dury, Carter, Unstoppable Sex Machine, just throwing some of those people who
yeah.
develop, and Paul McCartney as well, of course, The Day
I
You
have
Die and
to
all that
just
sort of stuff.
insert that was our first support slot in London in
Oh, really?
1989. Was it was Carter and then Suede and then us
I see.
in the New Cross venue.
Were there many
Anyway,
people there?
oh, it was rammed, but not for us, of course.
But I love the way that Jim Bob writes those wonderful "Look, Mum, No Hands," those
I
fantastic
don't
things in
really
the
know their
1990s.
work terribly well, but
Yeah.
you know, I loved Sheriff Fat Man and stuff like that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But you develop these songs. There's stories in the songs, and I sort of look back at those people. And I think, I wonder if he was influenced by Dury. I wonder if he's influenced.
Oh well, a lot of
Musicals
these
comes to mind.
people were like just formative influences, if only because I remember Jury's sweaty face on Top of the Pops for,
Yeah,
you know, Hit Me With Your Rhythm
with the
Stick.
hanky. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like he was so intense, and so you couldn't take your eyes off him. But as a
yeah,
child, I was scared out of my wits, you know, looking
yeah,
at him.
yeah.
But the tune, amazing, and I love a lot of the Blockhead stuff. It's
I
amazing.
was
Yeah.
talking to Chaz Jankel, and he told me that "Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick" and how they wrote the line in the studio. And he said to Ian, just pretend you're being hit. And every time you go, "hit me," pretend you're just recoiling from a
Yeah.
punch.
Oh, that's
I
very
love those
good.
little
Yeah, yeah,
nuggets of
yeah. Absolutely.
keeping
And
the
the
sheep.
greatest bass line in musical history.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 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 yeah. Norman Watt-Roy. Yeah, absolute
Yeah,
genius.
yeah.
Just moving forward then, and I will cover the album and the tour in more detail in a minute. But how did you get involved with the Father Ted? Obviously, I need to just cover that off. But how did you get involved with Father Ted? Did you know Graham Linehan? Was there a
Um, it,
connection there?
he'd actually reviewed Liberation, He was one of the very few people who reviewed my first album,
Oh, wow.
and
He
it
was a
was
journalist, was he, to start with?
yeah,
Was he?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was at Hot Press to begin with in Dublin,
Yeah.
with Arthur, and then this was a different thing he was writing for. But no, I didn't know either of them, and eventually, just I guess it was that sort of 1994, 95 period.
Yeah.
I literally just got a phone call um, via the record company asking whether I'd be interested in writing the theme music for a new comedy. And I thought, okay, well, and I'd seen Paris with Alexei Sayle, which was their previous offering.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that wasn't very good. but you know, I've always fancied myself as a, you know, theme tune writer, so I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
And and such is my luck, you know, that it happened to be a pivotal show, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's very
Um,
funny. I mean, really
very
very
funny,
funny.
very
Yeah.
surreal, and
Yeah.
you know, I was amazed how it really transferred to the UK
Yeah.
because it's very Irish in many ways, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you know, you'd say, of course, it's very Irish because it's Irish people, but often, you know, you look at other things that are sort of Irishy,
Yeah.
and they're just like nonsense.
But then
But
Linehan he's a very, very talented comedian, scriptwriter. He's amazing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
but
The
and
stuff
so
that
is
he's done.
Arthur. Yeah.
Yeah. Did stuff for Steve Coogan as well. And the IT crowd. Oh, no. Who can forget My Lovely Horse? I mean, did you write the crap version as well?
Oh yeah, I think I did. Yeah. The one they had in the lift, and uh, no, I did all of them. It was great fun, but it was always an immense time pressure, and they just said, "Do this, 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 and this," and you had like 3 hours in the studio to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which is part of the reason these things have a very particular quality, because I was just throwing them down, you know,
Yeah.
and kind of not thinking at
You
all.
have to be really
Um,
focused to work that quickly,
well,
I guess.
focused and kind of just, that'll do, you know,
Right. But
a
it did. I
certain
mean,
sort of
it's
offhandedness, you know.
yeah, very,
Yeah.
very memorable. And the IT crowd as well. Did that come off the back of Father Ted?
Yeah, that was slightly more problematic because Graham had something in his mind that he couldn't sort of tell me what it was. So I did about 13 things, and eventually he went, "That'll do." Yeah, I was pleased it kind of worked.
Yeah.
In the end, because he kept saying, you know, sort of industrial, I took our friend's electric chords
Okay.
and turned them round,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's going backwards.
I get you there.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of got the, if you think, um, da, 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 da,
Yes. Yes.
da, da.
Yes.
Well, this is
Oh,
da,
it is
da,
similar, isn't it?
da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. So those big fifths, you know.
Going back the other way.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, after, because I had no decent synths and keyboards at the time, um, it actually sounds a bit more like a Sega computer game or something, which is a
But it fits.
better
It does.
quality.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it kind of
I
fits.
love these happy accidents.
But also, I was analysing. We do a thing on Louder Than More radio, and it was plagiarism, or is it a rip off or is it the same? And I was listening to Dum Dum Boys by Iggy Pop off the Idiot, and it's actually the same as Our Friends Electric 2 years before. Very, very
Mm,
similar, anyway.
mm. I'm gonna
I'm
go
sure
and
that
have a
never
listen to that
happened.
after this. Yeah.
I love the Wonka film. It's a wonderful, magical film. And how did you get involved with that?
Again, well, I mean, if we go back to the very beginning, it's because Paul King, the director, was a fan of the Divine Comedy from his university days.
Yeah.
And I always sort of wondered over the years, if only like a fan from those days would like become some big cheese in the media, you know. And lo, it came to pass. And you know, it was 2000 because it was the start of COVID. they just emailed saying, we'd love you to talk with us about doing the music for
Fantastic.
a Wonka. And I was like, well, this is ridiculous. I mean, that's my dream job. That's kind of, if
Yeah,
I'd been
I
asked to
can
sit
imagine.
down and write exactly what I'd like someone to come to me with, it would be that. Because I grew up, like most of our generation, on that first film, and the songs, they're, you don't even think about them because they're so ever present. It's just like a part
Yeah,
of you.
yeah,
And later I found out, is Anthony Newley and Leslie Bricusse,
yeah.
who wrote some amazing other things. Yeah, so it was, you know, after I'd got over the initial, oh, really? Can I pull
Is
off a
me?
Hollywood film, And then I decided, yes, I can.
There's a
Because there's,
wonderful song in the Sweet Shop, isn't there, of the original film, if you remember it, Born to Do It.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, which one are we talking about? The
But the sweet shop owner says, why do birds fly in the sky? Why do fish swim in the sea? Because they were born to do it. I believe
yeah.
Craig David took his album name from it. Yeah.
I I especially always loved, you know, God, mine's blanking.
Mm.
Um, a world of pure imagination.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Da da da
but
da da da.
when I was a kid, none of the other kids liked that song. That wasn't the fun one.
Yeah, but that defines you though, doesn't it? Because I guess all the other
Maybe.
kids were into sort of synth pop, and you were
Oh well, I
sort of
love synth pop too, but
right.
I have wide and varied tastes. Um, no, in fact, some of my happiest memories are Phil Oakey with an enormous fringe on
Yes,
top of the
down one
pops.
side. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the Wonka thing, it was really long-winded because there was so much time spent, making it, and so much
Yeah.
difficulty with COVID and the lockdowns in doing it. I was working on it for like 3 years on and off.
Oh wow.
Um, but we got there in the end. And if I never get another film job, I'm fine. It's
Yeah.
good.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And is there a difference in writing songs, in the studio or with the guitar or piano and having to fit the songs to the film? Because obviously there are different ways of doing it. You can present songs to the film, to the editors, the
Mm.
producers, the director, or you can actually write it with the film in front of you and fit it to the film. Is that how it worked with you?
Um, it was only later, all of the songs were written before they'd shot a
Okay.
single
Yeah.
reel. Um, but there was an awful lot of editing of the songs afterwards.
Right. To fit them
Um,
into scenes and things and the length, I
well,
guess.
yes, obviously the actors were often, lip syncing to the songs that we had demoed, but then
Yeah.
we re-recorded everything after the fact onto the film.
Oh,
It
I
was
see.
an odd process, but it seemed to work.
A long
Um,
process, right? Yeah.
very long.
Yeah.
But I think we were extremely lucky with the actors they chose, and I think Mr. Chalamet has a lovely voice,
He's a
so I was
delight,
very
isn't he?
pleased.
He's a delight
Yeah,
to watch, to look at.
exactly.
A
I
fantastic
just
actor.
love actors where you sort of you only see them. It's just like he's born to be on film.
He was
Yeah,
born to do it. Yeah, he was
yeah.
born to do it. Have you ever experimented with anything darker, any darker hues, heavy metal, punk, and different genres?
Oh, I can be dark. I'm often dark, but
Yeah.
it's rarely in any of the genres that you put forth. Um, it's much more likely to be that sort of slightly cabaret or chanson sort of darkness,
Yeah.
or just like sort of brutal, you know, things, because I love Tom Waits and I love Nick Cave and
Yeah.
you know, those dark people.
Nick is dark. I mean, he went
Yeah,
very dark. He's sort of coming out of that a little bit now, isn't he?
yeah.
After the death of his son.
And I kind of, uh, I try not to do it for the sake of it. It always has to be because I've written a song that is of a dark quality, and
Yeah,
then you try and give them the arrangement that they deserve.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't stray into sort of the thrashing punk or
The nearest I've got is probably songs like I wrote something called Dark Days Are Here Again on
yeah,
Office Politics from 2019,
yeah,
which sort of strays into almost that sort of Scary Monsters guitar sounds,
yeah,
that period.
yeah.
Um, but I would love to write The Mercy Seat, but it's just never going to happen because I like melody,
Well, that
Yeah,
comes across, of course it does. I mean,
yeah,
you get the melody all the way through the song, and we talked about it before, but through the
yeah.
verses and into the chorus. Um, the new album's quite introspective. The last time I saw the old man, sorry. I guess you're just reaching into the past a little bit. It's kind of quite personal, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I lost my dad a few years ago, and it was all quite. I suppose the atmosphere of the last 5 years hasn't been great,
No,
around the
no,
world,
no.
and it can't help but sort of feed in. Um, yeah, because I always write tons of stuff,
Yeah,
and it wasn't all of that ilk. There was plenty of foolishness and
brightness. Yeah,
yeah, and oddness. And you always come to a point, which I did last spring, where you think, well, if I'm going to make an album, which of these am I going to choose? And you kind of corral songs into like this is kind of this would be the honest thing to do, would
yeah,
be to write the slightly more introspective, melancholy, orchestral,
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So I just went for that. And it was also because during Wonka, we recorded in Abbey Road 3 a lot. And I wanted to do that because I thought I'm not getting any younger, and I've got to, push the boat out for
yeah.
once and do it. And this sort of seemed like the right stuff to do in that environment.
Do you find
Yeah.
it difficult or do you find it cathartic when you're singing about your old man?
Um, it's very hard to say. I mean, it might sound odd to people, but it's not. Um, it wasn't born of great trauma. It
Right.
was, um, a few months after his funeral, I just was walking the dogs through woods, and the tune popped into my head. I went, the last time I saw my papa.
Yeah.
And I went, well, I'm not going to say papa. But apart from that, it's really good. Um, and then you go through stages because the song's there, but
Yeah.
you're a little nervous about actually finishing it.
Yeah.
Um, but I was up at my mum's and I was noodling on our old piano that I grew up with, which was my dad's. And suddenly that sort of dum bum 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 thing
Yeah.
appeared over the chords. And like the song that wrote it. Because as soon as you get a little sort of motif like that, it sort of explains everything, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just move on to the tour then. So the album comes out on September the 19th. It's called Rainy Sunday Afternoon. And the tour kicks off in October, I believe.
It certainly does. And I'm not at all nervous about everything that lies in wait for me. Because, I mean, the tour is fine. Once you get on the bus and you're away, it's just like fun and
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah.
But like this month of hardcore promo and in stores and signings and all of that, it's quite stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
It's
fun. It's the fun
it's
part of it, isn't it?
fine. It's fine. My God,
Yeah.
there are so many worse jobs. But
For
I
sure.
I would just I like the writing and I
Yeah.
like the recording and I like the touring. but this bit is like, it's the one bit that I don't particularly
Apart from the
enjoy.
picture hanging, I believe.
Well, you see, when do I ever actually, get to hang up pictures?
Normality.
As soon as I'm finished the tour, I go, right, new album.
Go on to the next one. Just
Exactly.
finally then, Neil, do you have any secret hobbies that nobody knows about? I ask all my guests.
Well, the embarrassing one is I love strategy computer games, of the Napoleonic variety and things like that. Of course I do. But that eats up quite a lot of time that I would be better spent hanging pictures. I think probably my greatest hobby is our dogs. We've got
really?
4. We've
Yeah.
always got loads of dogs, and because Kathy is so involved with the sort of rescuing other animals outside, I tend to sort of spend my time looking after the dogs.
Fantastic.
And walking the dogs and patting the dogs and feeding the dogs and all of that. So that's my main hobby. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Neil. Thanks so much.
Oh, my
for
pleasure,
doing the
Nigel.
interview.
Thank you.
We will publish this, I think, pretty much as it is. And thank you for joining me on our Louder Than War trip.
Yes, keep in all of the brain farts.
Yes. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. I know you're under a time thing now, so
oh crikey, yes, 2 minutes to the next one. Better go.
So fantastic. Thank you so much, Neil.
Bye-bye. No problem. Thanks a lot. See you soon.